Hey guys, welcome back to my channel and welcome to a semi-requested, semi-spontaneous video duping the vibes of one of the newest collections that broke the internet, kind of. I'm talking about the Colourpop and Mulan collaboration. Now, Colourpop has been doing a lot of Disney collaborations. Disney has been doing a lot of makeup collaborations in general, but this one is specifically was related to the release of the Mulan Disney live action movie recently, and it wasn't such a crazy thing like it's the Sailor Moon collection, but things didn't stay in stock for very long. Now, we are all self-isolating, social distancing, pretty much staying at home. That's the whole idea, right? And it can happen that you're bored, or let me speak for myself. I'm bored, I'm browsing. I am trying to find something that makes me happy easily, and sometimes buying makeup makes me happy easily, and then I can wait for the pretty thing to arrive in my mailbox and for new things to play with and to be happy more. But I am trying really hard not to use shopping as a mean to just be happier. So I am trying to meditate instead. I am trying to use what I have and play with my makeup and read books and do yoga and do healthier things, both for my wallet but also for my mental health, compared to shopping. So that's what started this idea of duping it, and I asked on Instagram, and you guys were actually into it, because a lot of you can't get Colourpop because there's restrictions with shipping right now with the pandemic we're going through, for example, or there's a big customs that you have to pay, or weeks that it has to be stuck because you have to pay customs and has to pass customs. Anyways, I am happy to report that I have made a dupe palette for the Colourpop and Mulan palette, and I also, thanks to Temptalia, have myself the blush that I was interested in. The makeup I am wearing today is all made with the dupes or the products I have at home that dupe the Mulan and Colourpop collaboration. I have the blush, I have a red lip, I have the eyeshadows, and I even have a few options for glosses that would dupe the glosses in the collection. Now, let's talk about the palette, because that's the biggest thing. I was really interested in the palette because it has a beautiful color scheme, extremely wearable but still very interesting. So I was really intrigued. I was really like, ooh, I want this. Then looking at the colors, it's pretty much a neutral palette with 2 pops of red, pretty much. So yeah, I was then reined in and I was like, okay, Alice, I'm sure you can dupe these products. I'm sure you have these in your collection. Let's just put down some effort and find the dupes. So here it is. This is my Mulan dupe palette. Now, there are some very big elephants in the room and some big things that I couldn't dupe, so I'm gonna walk through those. But I think the vibes are similar, and I would even judge that this is missing things that I would like it to have, and that in the end it's not the perfect palette for me, the one from this collaboration. So starting with the biggest elephants in the room, let's say, are the more glittery super shock type of finish. There are a few of them. One is actually not suitable for the eye area in the palette, and that is the gold glittery eyeshadow. It doesn't say it's a pressed glitter, but it says it's not usable for the immediate eye area. Let's start by swatching, and then I'm gonna talk about all the differences that I see. So the first shade I picked is Latte As Usual by Makeup Geek. The shade I was looking for was a little bit of a murky let's say, mid-toned brown, not too dark, not too light, not too warm, not too cool. Sorry, I'll move my mirror so I see when I swatched. Not too warm, not too cool, and a little bit murky. So this one right here was what I settled on. I really like Makeup Geek quality eyeshadows, the quality of Makeup Geek eyeshadows. You can find my full review of these square pans, which by the way were all gifted, for my obligatory disclaimer. These square pans with the rounded edges. But yeah, I really like the quality, and I thought this color was making the a good dupe for the one in the palette. Next up is one of the shades that are a Super Shock formula in the palette, and I picked a pressed pigment. This is Neve Cosmetics Liquid Mirror, and it is not a pressed pigment when it doesn't come pressed, but I pressed it myself, and this is literally a liquid mirror. Oh, this is one of the worst swatches I've ever done, but you can see it, like the shine of this one is incredible, and it's this very, very bright, almost like very, very bright beige, but it's not too cool and it's not white, and I think it fits quite nicely with the one in the palette. But the one in the palette has a bit of a chunkier finish, I think, and I didn't have something like that in my collection. Then again, I think this is fine. For the pressed, more glittery shade, the one that is not suited for the eye area, that is a warm gold glittery shade. I don't have that in my collection, and I went for a metallic gold, and this one right here is Carrot Cake by Colourpop, and this one is also just a nice metallic gold. Here it is right here, and it has a warm base, bit of a cooler shift maybe, but it's a warm, nice warm yellow gold. I really like it. I'm wearing it today on the lower lash line. There's a tutorial for this eye look coming after this video. I didn't tell you, coming at the end of this video. Anyways, moving on, we have a lighter transition shade, a matte, quite a warm toned or yellow toned light shade, and I picked the shade Ephemeral from Lethal Cosmetics. I also have a review on all of these eyeshadows, but I've talked about them so much, and this is a very nice, I don't know, transition shade. It's warmer than my skin tone, so I think you should be able to see the swatch if you're not blinded by those shimmers. Then we move into a little bit more interesting shades, and this one here is a more of a cooler toned taupey shimmer, and I have two options for this fifth shade. One is from Colourpop, and it's the shade Snake Eyes. This is one of their favorites or best-selling shades. It's a very beautiful shade because it has a little bit of a pink something to it. It is very beautiful, very elegant, and I think it makes every neutral palette very interesting. A second option would be Pink Champagne by Anastasia Beverly Hills, but these are ridiculously expensive, so I wouldn't per se suggest that one on top of the Colourpop, but if you already have it, that is also very beautiful. It's maybe a little bit lighter, a little bit pinker, but also a very beautiful shade for duping this one right here. And yeah, I think here in this row, as I mentioned, we're really missing these strong Super Shock and glittery type formulas. And I have to say, I was one who said, yeah, whatever, it doesn't matter. But ever since trying Natasha Denona toppers and the Cliona Cosmetics eyeshadows, I do believe in the power of toppers and in the power of different finishes and these more chunky, glittery, metallic eyeshadows. I do think they're particularly beautiful, but I also think that those two shades particularly are quite, I don't know, everyday shades. I can also imagine using something like Nabla Cosmetics Water Dream to achieve the same effect. I have it right here, for example, and this is a wet finish. Where do I put it here? More glittery type of eyeshadow. I hope you will be able to see it, and it makes you look your skin look almost wet. I'm not sure if you can see it, but using that on top of the liquid mirror, for example, to give it more of a glittery finish. So that is that for that row. On the second row, we have a bit of more interesting shades. We have something that is a bit of a duochrome that looks similar to MAC Blue Brown. Now, if you're talking about MAC Blue Brown, then I'll pull out MAC Blue Brown. You can see this incredible shine. But there are many eyeshadows like this. You have Neve Cosmetics Camaleonte, I think it's called. You have Makeup Geek Insomnia. You have some Urban Decay eyeshadows. This is not a revolutionary type of eyeshadow shade, let's say, but it is nonetheless absolutely gorgeous. This one is lit. I was mistaken, I got the wrong one. This one right here is from Tammy Tanuka Sigil by Tammy Tanuka, the shade Enchantress, and here is MAC Blue Brown. I got the wrong one out, I'm sorry. So here it is. But you can see that there's different types of these shades that you can pick for this specific position. Let me switch them out correctly. Another option is Colourpop Wishful Winking, which is this guy right here. It's a little bit darker, but still the same idea of a blue-greeny shift on a darker base. I don't think it's revolutionary. It's very pretty, but I would have one of these in the place of that shade anytime. Then we go further with more browns, and here in this palette I picked a few browns that have different undertones. This guy right here is Deja Brew by Makeup Geek, and this one is a little bit warmer toned, but not orange or yellow, and it's a beautiful tone of brown. It's a mid-toned brown that you can smooth out and blend out very easily and very widely, but also concentrate to make it a bit darker. So that one is Deja Brew. Then we come to another sore point, and maybe one of the most beautiful shades in this palette, which is the orangey red, the very warm red, shimmery, glittery, chunky shade. Now, different swatches will show it a bit differently, but I think it is a warm red leaning on the copper side with some silver and gold glitters in it. Depends on what looks or what swatches you look at, and it shifts a bit. I picked a shade that is not the same, but it does a little bit the same thing. I'm wearing it in the inner third of my eye today, and it's the shade Flamethrower by Makeup Geek. This guy right here is from the old round pans, but they have reformulated that one, and it is a beautiful, very, very bright coppery shade, but it has some silver micro glitter in there that makes it very interesting, and at the same time sometimes enrages me, because if I'm going for a very fiery warm look and then I get some silver micro glitter in there, it kind of annoys me. But I really like this shade. I've used it a ton, and I think this one makes a good spot in this palette. Then we have a little bit of a more yellow toned transition shade in the palette, and I picked the shade Had Me at Yellow by Makeup Geek. I think maybe Paper Crane by Colourpop could be a good option here, but that one is a little bit more mustardy yet, whereas this one, as you can see, is a yellow toned neutral, which I think is closer to the one in the palette. Again, depending on the swatches that you see, lighting and stuff could be different, so I keep my options open, but I picked this one for my palette. And then we have the only real very warm shade in like very warm matte in the palette, and I picked the shade Catatonic by Lethal Cosmetics, and this guy right here is just a very nice warm toned brown. There's a bunch of similar shades. It's not particularly orange, it's not particularly burnt orange, it's a little bit more brown than what something like Cocoa Bear or now it's called Cheetah Bear actually, from Makeup Geek. It's a little bit less yeah, warm. So this was the second row. I think the biggest challenges here were not the mattes, of course, but the two shimmers. One, because the first duochrome is not as intense as Blue Brown by MAC, and one because of the interesting glitters that are in the middle shade with that shimmer. Then we have a very cool toned, very dark brown in the third row, and I picked the shade Nocturnal by Lethal Cosmetics. You see this popping up a lot in my dupe palettes because it is a beautiful, very dark, cool toned brown. There's very little to say about it, and it performs very well, and it's a great shade. So I put it in these things quite a lot. Nothing to say. I saw the eye swatches by that girl Shay of these, and it didn't look like the formula was fantastic. There are a few of these shades by Colourpop, like Noche, I think is one. What was the other one? Cloud 9, that is similar. I think Noche is a bit more purple. Cloud 9 is probably more similar to this, but that, for example, they're not fantastic in patchiness. So it is what it is. Next up is the metallic red, which to me is the star of the show. There should be more reds. There should be less brown mattes and more reds, more red mattes also. But my red shimmer that I will always have is Divina Cosmetic Blazed. It's what I'm wearing on my eyes right now as well. And it is a beautiful, warm-toned, fiery red shimmer. Other options would be Natasha Denona. This is from the Metropolis palette. I will swatch it here for you as well. It is fantastic, but of course you would have to buy or have the Metropolis palette for that. You cannot buy it as a single. And I also have an option from the 35M by Morphe that some people have, which is another red shimmer right there. It's a bit cooler toned. Can you see the difference in quality? Yeah, I know, me too. So those are the three options for the reds that I have, and I think that putting this red into this palette and assembling this palette, looking for the right dupes, really made me realize how neutral this palette is compared to what you see in swatches or in the palette itself. Then in the third row we have a dark shade that looks almost black with some glitter in it. Now apparently Colourpop is getting better at these type of shades, because I remember there's a few shades in maybe the Good Sport palette, for example, that is a matte with some glitter, and it's the most pointless shade in the palette. Whereas again on the video of that girl Shay, I was seeing how she would actually pack it on and you could see a little bit of the glitters more than in older palettes, and she also said that she thinks the quality has improved, and it's maybe the same formula or type of technology that Tati used in her Tati Beauty Textured Neutrals palette, the sequins I think they're called. Anyways, I picked this shade right here, which is Dark Chocolate Shimmer by Anastasia Beverly Hills, which is a very dark, I'll put it here, very dark brown. It's not black, with some glitters in there. I hope you can see how it is a little bit multi-dimensional and it has some warm toned glitters in there. This is also similar formula as to that. It's very discreet, not a metallic, not a glitter. I can really see them very well, the glitters on my hand. So I'm happy with that one. I don't need any more shadows with glitters in it. I also never ever wear it. Like, it's so dark and beautiful for a smoky eye, but I achieve, as I said, the same effect applying Water Dream on by Nabla Cosmetics on a matte base. So I really don't see the point of these. Then we go again to another brown. It looks warm, but it's in some swatches it isn't. So I picked this guy right here from Makeup Geek, which yeah, looks quite neutral, I have to say, maybe a bit murky, not too dark, and this is Espresso Yourself. So this one right here would be the other matte brown that I chose, and I was so fed up with searching for matte browns in different undertones for this palette. Just just, I don't know. They have so many like 9-pan palettes with so many matte browns, like Going Coconuts and Brown Sugar, and there must be another one. Doesn't come to me, but it's okay. The final one is also a shade with glitters inside, and I'm fed up with it. So I just picked a metallic brown, bronzy brown. This is from the 35M palette, Hot to Trot. And this is what it looks like. Again, not too hot, not too warm, and not too shiny, but a nice staple in there. Not super happy with these dupes of these or at least of this last glittery shade, but to be honest, I wouldn't care for those shades in that palette at all, so I'm fine with it. I would actually probably have put in a little bit more of a red matte, for example, or something like that. So overall, this is the dupe of the palette, and with all the swatches, this is what it looks like. I'm sorry for messing up the blue brown, and I just pulled out a different eyeshadow from my, I have this little Z palette with all my grays and duochromes. So yeah, that is what it looks like. You can see this guy right here could be a little bit warmer. Could be a little bit warmer and a little bit more chunky of a formula, but nevertheless, it's a good gold. So I'm happy with that. This exercise really helped me not needing the palette at all, and that is money saved for Alice and hopefully money saved for you too. My wish list for this collection, however, contained more items and especially one of the blushes was a very warm, sheeny terracotta that I was so in love with. And then I went to Temptalia's website. She, if you don't know her, you should really go. She's the queen of dupes. She has the best database of dupes and swatches in the industry, I think. I aimed to be, that was my goal when I started my blog. I wanted to do all the dupes and all the swatches and things like that. But it takes a lot of dedication, money to buy things until brands send you stuff that I just couldn't even think of going there. Anyways, looking on Temptalia's blog, I found that actually it is a very close dupe to this guy right here from Jouer Cosmetics. Is it Jouer Cosmetics? Just Jouer. This is the Cheeky Summer Blush Duo, and the specific shade is this guy right here, Terracotta Sands. This is a gorgeous, warm terracotta. I am wearing it on my cheeks today. I have some highlighter, but the main thing is that it is very sheeny and I don't know, extremely beautiful. I am so happy with this duo. I bought it with Black Friday, and I think this shade right here is perfection, and I'm very happy that this is a dupe for the blush. The other blush I think actually is quite a similar shade to this one. It's what we would call a cookie color, very natural, but I think it doesn't have a sheen. So I am happy with this. I got this from Beauty Bay. It was on sale at the time. I don't think it is anymore now. Then the lipsticks. Now there is one red lipstick, and that is in the new Luxe Velvet formula, which I'm not interested in. I tried their blotted lips when they first came out, hated them, and they said that these ones are a bit longer lasting and more coverage than the blotted lips, but a similar idea. So I don't want to get close to it with a 5-foot pole. My red lip is Uncensored by Fenty, or what I'm wearing right now, which is Ribbon by Colourpop. Ribbon is a limited edition from the Hello Kitty collection that was a while ago, but I love it. It's slightly deeper and cooler toned than Fenty Beauty, and it's a gorgeous and very comfortable matte red. So with these two guys, I don't need a matte red lipstick. Probably you don't need either. There's plenty of nice ones also from Nabla Cosmetics, makes some good ones. There's really nice red lipsticks out there, but I will never stop suggesting these. And then there is also a gloss, and that is a transparent gloss with some gold shimmer. Now I have one favorite for that, and that is the shade KT by Colourpop, also from the Colourpop and the Hello Kitty collection. That collection was amazing, by the way. And it's this guy right here. I think this one has a bit more of a metallic base shade than the one from the collaboration. Another more recent option is this guy right here, Champagne Mommy. This one first of all has a brush tip, which I hate, and this one also has a bit more of a peach base, as you can see, whereas the one in the collection is a transparent with gold shimmer. There's a few others in the Colourpop lineup that are very similar, and then also what I think when it comes to formula, probably it is quite similar to Fenty, but I only have the shade Fussy and it's more of a peachy pink, so that's definitely not it. But yeah, I don't need a transparent gloss with gold shimmer. I don't know you. But these were my options for a gloss, especially KT is my favorite when I want that reflectiveness of a bit of a gold. The final product in the collection is a nude lipstick, and I loved that lipstick. I wanted to buy it so much, but I didn't. I didn't buy anything. So it reminded me a little bit of, but I'm not really sure, is the shade Retro by MAC, and this is nude with a little bit of a pink idea, warm pink rosy thing. I think the one in the collection is lighter than this, so it's not a perfect dupe, but to be honest, lighter than this is not something I would usually use, so I think I'm okay. I don't have specific dupes because I find it very difficult to dupe nudes off of swatches or even photos on the lips, because everybody reacts to these colors completely differently. So for example, Retro on me will show up as almost a pink shade, whereas on many other people it will show up brown or more terracotta. So it really depends on your undertones, so I can't really dupe that shade for you right now. Anyways, I blabbed along for a very long time. I hope you guys enjoyed and this video was useful. Now there's gonna be the tutorial for this eye look. If you're interested, stay tuned, and otherwise I'll see you in my next video. Don't forget to subscribe and give it a thumbs up if you like it, and let's get into the tutorial. I am starting by putting down the shade Ephemeral in my crease with a fluffy brush, and this will just give a little bit of shading and transition to the whole look and the base to work on, and checking that my primer isn't creased. Then going in with Catatonic by Lethal Cosmetics, and this is a warmer brown. It's quite pigmented, so I need to blend this out a lot, but there's nothing wrong with that. I love these shades. To deepen everything up, I'm taking Makeup Geek Deja Brew and applying that on the outer V, and continuing with the winging out of the eyeshadow, and that, as you can see, really helps open up my eye. Making sure everything is blended, I'm going in with the first brush that I used. That is a very fluffy and a blendy type of brush. Now taking the red eyeshadow, this is Blazed by Davina Cosmetics, and applying it on the center of my lid, but also bringing it upwards, higher than I would normally go. So because there is no, really not a matte red, to give the red a little bit more of a pop, I'm bringing it same level with the shading that I did with the matte shades. Then going back in to make sure that is all blended. Then I am applying the shade Flamethrower by Makeup Geek. I have the old version, but there is the new one as well. And I am going to apply this in the inner third of my lid. This shade has some very fine silver glitter in there, which I think complements the Colourpop palette very well. Again, just making sure that the edges are blended. Then for the inner corner, I'm taking Liquid Mirror by Neve Cosmetics. This is usually a pressed pigment, but a loose pigment, but I pressed it and it has the most beautiful mirror-like shine. So you need a very, very small amount because it goes a long way. On the lower lash line, instead, I'm taking Carrot Cake by Colourpop and making this pop of gold in the inner part of the lower lash line. Then I'm applying my liner. This is Burnt Sienna by NYX Cosmetics. And I will only apply it to my outer half of the lid and to my whole waterline. I'm blending it out with the help of a smudger brush on the upper lash line and the shade Deja Brew that we used earlier. And then for the lower lash line, instead I'm taking Catatonic again and using that to blend out the lower lash line. I am applying House of Lashes Wispy Minis and be right back. And here is the finished look using my makeshift dupes of the Colourpop and Mulan collection. I hope you guys enjoyed this video, and don't forget to give it a thumbs up if you did and to subscribe to my channel if you're not already. I will see you in my next video. Bye guys!